Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of your new favorite podcast, Beards and Bitcoins. A couple of dudes with beards talking about Bitcoins. You can find our podcast Twitter handle at Beards Bitcoins, and I'm your co-host, BitBoy. You can find my Twitter handle at BitBoy_HODL.
Oh, thanks, BitBoy. This is Jay Chains, your other co-host. You can find me on Twitter at COLCUSTARD, Colonel Custard. That is me. I go by the screen name, though, Jay Chains. So you'll find me there, all right?
So I want to give you a chance to kind of explain that a little bit because I was wondering about the Colonel Custard. I mean, Jay Chains is like a cool name, but your @ symbol is Colonel Custard. So tell us a little bit about how that came to be.
So that was a nickname back in the early days that I went by. My last name plays into that. So that's how I got that nickname, and my Twitter account's pretty old. So it's kind of locked in there, and I feel like I'm too far beyond to start a new one at this particular moment. So Jay Chains is the name that I go by. You'll find me cruising around the streets on my motorcycle with my guys, and I go by Jay Chains.
Dude, that's pretty cool. I think that's something actually, since we talk about Twitter and we're going to talk about community today, we're actually talking about social media. So this is a topic we'll be talking about frequently. I think probably a lot of people find themselves in a similar situation. Maybe they had a personal Twitter account and they turned it into a crypto account, something like that. So pretty cool to hear how you're handling that, because it kind of gets to a point where your account's so big you can't just really start a new one.
Absolutely. And, once you pick that @ sign, you're locked in. So, if you're considering creating a new account, make sure you're thinking about the long term and what you want to get into. So, it is what it is. And, it's one of the limitations of Twitter. But, we find, like we're about ready to talk about, the community is super cool, and it's a great place. So we do like Twitter, but really quick, guys, I want to let you know, I'm not sure if you've heard of HODL Fuel or not, but we I have been talking with those guys. They are fantastic. So
good.
Oh, the coffee is fantastic. But you can find them on the website, hodlfuel.com. You can also get him on Twitter at hodlfuel. So make sure you connect with him. Again, super cool dude, but that coffee, I know that you've had it, BitBoy, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm literally drinking it right now.
It's too good not to. I turned it into, I do some cold brew with it, and it is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a lukewarm coffee guy. People think that's weird, but when it's so hot, I feel like you can't drink it. And then, when it's hot outside, that adds a whole nother element to it. I want to be able to drink my coffee. Like, I like to enjoy it. And when you have good coffee like HODL Fuel, it's a little bit easier to enjoy, but I drink it black. I drink it for caffeine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't put any cream or sugar in it. It's black coffee. So thanks to those guys. They have agreed to a sponsorship of the show, and I believe that we've got some things in the pipeline with them, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we are actually going to be able to give away a free bag of HODL Fuel every episode of the podcast. So we are a weekly podcast, so every week we'll be giving out a free bag of coffee. And this week, the way we're going to do it is on a Twitter post. So be on the lookout, or find the Twitter post for this podcast that's going to come out on Friday morning. And we are going to put a question on that post. All you got to do is go answer the question. I'll go ahead and give you the spoiler alert. The question is going to be, since we're talking about a lot of social media platforms today, is going to be, what is your favorite social media platform for crypto and why? All you got to do is answer that question. You're in the running. We'll do a random draw and announce that probably, I would say, Monday or Tuesday of next week. And we'll pick the winner, and you can get yourself some nice coffee.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does. It's definitely going to be really cool to be able to get people caffeinated. I love it. So as you guys know, if you listen to our first episode, one thing that we're big on this podcast is going to be community. We're going to be talking about it pretty constantly. It's not just community, but also like the culture and the ethos of what it is to be in crypto, because this is really a space unlike anything I've ever been in before. It truly is a rabbit hole. You fall in and you can't get out, and you can only get deeper and deeper in it. Is that kind of your experience too, Jay Chains?
Oh man, it is absolutely true. I feel like I get less hours of sleep every night since I've been involved. But it's it's a fun thing to be in. Constantly. I think we had talked about this a little bit before. I think when we were at the Voices of Blockchain conference, but unlike the stock market, the crypto market's 24 hours. Absolutely. So there's always action. There's always people about. There's always someone that you can talk to, whether it's in a different part of the world or whatever, that's up and thinking about the same thing you are, and that's your tokens or your projects or whatever you got going on.
So I have a Telegram group for my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is BitBoy Crypto. I'll show that to you guys for a second. But my YouTube channel, I have a Telegram group, and it's not a paid group. It's just people from my community. We get together, talk crypto, talk about whatever's going on. I'm really big on community, as you guys know, and it's very personal. I know a lot of those guys personally at this point, I feel like, and I'm an open book. They know me personally. And, the interesting thing about it is so many of the people in my community, we call it the Bit Squad, they are from other countries. And it's so funny. Every morning I will wake up and I'll have like 100 notifications. And that may be a slight exaggeration. Sometimes it's not. One day I woke up with 200 from my Telegram group because a lot of the people that are watching my channel are from parts of the country where they're awake when I'm sleeping. And it's just pretty interesting, that it's not only 24/7, but it's borderless,
Yeah. And that's one of the cool things about it. I think that's actually one of my most favorite things about it is that it gives everyone an equal chance no matter where you're from, no matter what is going on in your life or what your upbringing is. It's borderless. It's just available to anyone who wants it.
That's it.
As long as you got an internet connection now.
And Elastos is actually trying to make it where you don't even have to have an internet connection, I believe. So interestingly enough, I am going to Litecoin Summit this week, and it's Friday and Saturday, and then next week on Monday when I get back to Atlanta, there's actually an Elastos meetup that I'm going to go to. I've never been to any meetups in Atlanta in my local area, so that's going to be pretty fun. But Elastos is a project I really like, and they're trying to make a loose version of the internet where you don't actually have to be connected in the traditional way to the internet to be able to be on Facebook or to be able to be on Twitter. So who knows? Maybe one day you don't even really have to have internet to get into crypto.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
It just blows your mind how technology can change
so fast. We all love crypto and we're super committed to it, but at the same time, like, who knows what might come out in 10 years that might just totally negate everything that's in crypto. It's kind of a scary thought, but blockchain is supposed to kind of be the new internet. So I don't know. It's going to be crazy to see what's going to happen in the future. But hopefully instead of a new technology coming out that'll take over crypto will be that new technology that can kind of adapt. So
I like that. And speaking of adapting, we've got communities. They obviously adapt, to market conditions, to fluctuation in people in the community and whatnot. So kind of bringing us, to what we want to talk about today are all the different social media channels, how they fit with crypto, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really fun topic to talk about because, we talked about last week in the initial episode of the podcast that there seems to be kind of a wall surrounding people in crypto, the different communities, the different social media platforms, where they're splintered. There's not a ton of overlap between, say, Facebook and Twitter when it comes to crypto. And so today we kind of want to give a rundown of all the different social media platforms, or at least we're going to go over 8 of them that are probably the most 8 popular social media platforms with cryptocurrency. And we're going to give you guys kind of perspective on how the crypto community uses each one of these platforms, and then how the actual projects themselves use these platforms, because it's really multifaceted the way that these are getting used for cryptocurrency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, with what I think is, kind of one of the more important, or at least one of the larger scale social media platforms that the cryptocurrency community uses is Twitter. And specifically, I don't know, I'm sure everybody that's listening to this knows what crypto Twitter is, but, it's like a whole nother segment of Twitter that is 100% focused on, what's going on in the blockchain and the crypto world. Quick shout out, by the way, to the Satoshi droppers. What's up?
Big shout out. Love those guys.
Yep, absolutely. and gals. They're awesome. So, but to me, Twitter is it's a community that. One, you see a lot of people get airdrops. You see a lot of, in the past there was the Ether thing, but you see a lot of really good communities and people come together talking about projects and banding together. This is a band of brothers, right? Like if you're a Tron, if you're a Litecoin, I mean, you guys all stick together and you do your thing, and it's fantastic. I think it's such a strong community. I don't know, what do you think about Twitter and crypto Twitter specifically?
Well, crypto Twitter is definitely its own animal. I've had people ask me before, how do you get there? Which is so funny. How do you get there? On the Coin Boys podcast, they had Crypto Sky on, who's also a podcaster, and he was talking to them about sneaker Twitter. And they were like, Andy and the guys and Daniel from the Coin Boys were like, what is that? What is sneaker Twitter? And I was sitting there listening like, well, that's just obviously another land of Twitter where you go and you learn about sneakers and people trade sneakers and talk about, whatever the new shoe that's coming out is. And I know my wife, she's a mom blogger. So there's mom blogger Twitter. Like there's so many different kinds of Twitter, but the thing about the crypto Twitter community that makes it, in my mind, so special is that once you get on the crypto community Twitter, you don't really go out of it. Like that's it. You're stuck in there.
That's very true.
Yeah, I love football. I love NFL football, American football, as I like to call it, the real football. So my international people hate that. But, I like to talk about football, but it's so hard to talk about football really on crypto Twitter because so many people don't care, and I don't want to, talk about something that nobody cares about. Same thing with politics. I used to be pretty, I'm not going to say heavy on political Twitter because I would never say anything. I would just go there and lurk and creep and read different stories and stuff like that. But with crypto Twitter, it's all about engagement and engaging with other people. And that's how you grow your account. And that's how you get to know people. I mean, a lot of my best friends now in real life are crypto people. So it's definitely been, a good experience for me on crypto Twitter. So
absolutely. I echo those sentiments. I think it's a great platform. And, to the community that we're in is just a top-notch group of people that, one of my favorite things about it, and obviously as we're going through a bear market, is the positivity that you see from a lot of the people there, uplifting, just always sending out positive messages and, and just trying to just be positive and uplifting. And it's a cool thing just to, because we're all, pretty upset right now about our portfolios, but things will change, whatever.
Well, the language of crypto Twitter is so cool too, because just the kind of words that come up, and this is what you're missing out. Like if you're not on crypto Twitter, you miss out on a lot of the cultural stuff that happens regarding crypto. Because like I said, we come up with our own language on there. You were talking about the bear market and how there's a lot of positivity. There's also a lot of negativity. And so the funny thing is, for all the negative comments, people say it's salt season, not alt season, but salt season. But today I saw somebody post about positive stuff on crypto Twitter. Now they're calling that sugar season. So it's either salt season or sugar season.
I'll take sugar season.
Yeah. So
pour some sugar on me, please, or on it, not me.
Yeah, those markets. That's another issue for another day.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, yeah, I think crypto Twitter is really great, and obviously, like from the project side of Twitter, I don't know if they necessarily call it crypto Twitter like we do, but what do you kind of see on the project side, or how are different crypto projects using Twitter?
You see a lot of them, that will send out, obviously it's a good way to advertise and to market your product. I mean, if you build up your following, you can send out updates about what you got going on, just whether you got a software update or whatever, whatever's happening in your particular business. I think it's a fascinating thing how the marketing works, where if you retweet something, then you got 10 people retweet it, and, just how it spreads just so fast. It's a fascinating thing. And it's good, like you're saying, it's good for projects because, they can market their product and updates and everything and get it out to the masses pretty quick.
Yeah. And, it's funny because a lot of the projects during the bull run, they were posting every day and they were really growing their followings. And then, when the bear market hits, they don't get as much engagement. And some of them have really slowed down. But Twitter, to me, Twitter is the way the projects get their information directly to the people who are interested in their project. So you can make that argument also about Telegram as well, which we'll get into. But Twitter is the way to kind of give it in real time and to get the most eyes on it in a short period of time. Because like with Telegram, the way that Telegram works, like I said, we will talk about. But if a project posts something on their Telegram group, then if you're not watching for that post, you could miss it in the chat. Whereas with Twitter, it has kind of more long-lasting effects. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, let's move on to the next one. I want to talk about Instagram. So, to me, I will say Instagram is the great frontier unconquered in cryptocurrency. It is, to me, it's not as fun with the engagement, but as far as the actual posts and memes, which I love memes, I make memes. That's all my Twitter account, or that's all my my Instagram account pretty much is memes. I make memes.
You got a strong meme game.
Dude, I appreciate that, man. It's something that I really enjoy is making funny ones. Especially like with whatever is going on. Like we had Elon Musk smoking a blunt on the Joe Rogan show. I made a couple memes off of that one. It's just fun stuff. But Twitter is not really being used that much by crypto on both sides. It seems like on the user side, like the consumer side of cryptocurrency, that there's really two different kinds of Instagram accounts. You have your Instagram accounts that are meme accounts, parody accounts, funny accounts that are making fun of the crypto community, which is awesome and I love. And then you also have your news pages. And those news pages, every day they will post an image. On Twitter it's a square, or on Instagram it's a square image that'll have a little snippet of a news story on there. And it's a good way to get people to see some breaking news maybe, or maybe if it's a big story. It's that Instagram, this is the way it was told to me, Instagram is a visual platform. So that's why you can't like really post a full update about a project on there. That's not going to work. People aren't going to really read it. If they got to scroll through some images to get the whole picture, they're not going to use it. But if they are going to see something that's going to make them laugh or is going to want to make them interested to learn very quickly, then Instagram is really great for that. And I think Instagram is one that we will see evolve over the next 1 to 2 years, and it may look totally different. A lot of the biggest accounts on Twitter don't even have Instagram followings, and yet Instagram is the fastest growing social media out there. So
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
That's first of all, that's interesting to me. I've got a different perception of Instagram. I personally don't have it. I've never used it. And so, when I think of it, I don't even know, are you limited characters like you are on Twitter? Is it just images? I know everybody knows Insta. So, I know what Instagram is, but I've never actually used it. So, question for you. Are you limited characters like you are on Twitter? Can you send things like a GIF or a GIF or however you like to say it? Or go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, so you're not limited on characters. You're limited on hashtags to 30 hashtags you can use in your post. So I always switch my hashtags up on every meme that I post. It gets in front of the most eyes that way. As far as posting GIFs, or GIFs or GIFs. The technical pronunciation is GIFs, but we all know everyone calls them GIFs. So you can post meme videos on there. You can post a video up to a minute, and it will auto replay. So if you posted like a 5-second GIF video, it will kind of replay basically forever in that same kind of format. So, but it's not as... With Instagram, you're really not making too many posts a day. I do 2 posts a day generally. It's rarely 3. With Twitter, some of those people tweet, 100 times a day,
Right. Yeah,
literally.
Absolutely.
So that's what I mean with Instagram. And, the thing that really is making Instagram grow is the death of Facebook as the platform that we know. It's still used for things. A vast majority of people still have it. For the first time ever last year, Facebook declined in Facebook declined in new user registrations. That's continued on this year. And where are all those people going? They're all going to Instagram. And yes, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So still at the end of the day, Facebook is reaping those rewards. but it's a much less intrusive platform than Facebook is. You don't have data. They can track your the way that you scroll through posts and kind of know what you like that way. But as far as your data, you're not giving out too much about yourself when you're doing posts. It's just pictures. And so it's kind of it's a totally different world. But I really enjoy it. I really like it. And as far as the way that projects are using it, they're really not. The crypto projects are not really using Instagram right now. Some of your smaller ICOs are to kind of just have a bigger reach. But, we don't have a lot of big projects that have notable Instagram accounts. So
that's interesting. Again, I would have never thought until you and I started talking about it. I never would have even thought about a crypto Instagram. So I'll definitely be checking it out and look forward to it. For now, I think we're going to talk about Telegram, right?
That's right. Let's do it.
And one of the things that you had hit on, and I wholeheartedly agree with, is just the direct feed that project devs or CEOs or whoever's directly related to a project, and not just community managers, but actual team members and people that are involved. I mean, they have a direct feed right to the people. And like you said, if you've got your announcements set and you'll know exactly when your community's got something going on. And I think Telegram again is a fantastic tool as well. It keeps the communication lines open. I mean, sometimes it gets just a little insane.
Communication overload.
Oh, brother, communication overload, no doubt.
I've had a few Telegram groups that I've been in that were pretty small, like maybe 10 to 20 different people in there, and then when they grow, it gets unusable. And so usually what will happen a lot of times on Telegram, it's funny, I was just talking to somebody about this today, is that you'll actually take kind of your core people from a group and pull them over to another group, so you can
absolutely
keep that kind of small feel to it.
Huh. Yeah, no, that does happen, and I think everybody's kind of joined in those smaller groups that are more focused on people that are there for the real part. I think that one of the worst things, in my opinion, about Telegram is the anonymity of the accounts and how people can scam and scheme and just kind of remain faceless and delete their account and throw away accounts and then just reopen up a new one and go right back at it. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that drives me the most crazy about it. Or also, and this is like obnoxious when you look at your Telegram feed and all of a sudden you're in like 10 new groups that you didn't ask to join. It's like, you don't automatically add me to something. I like Telegram, but that feature annoys me a lot.
Well, you can actually set your privacy settings to where only contacts can add you.
Oh, yeah?
And then that'll never happen again.
Oh, well, you learn something new every day. I appreciate that, man.
How about that?
There we go.
Yeah, Telegram has a bad problem, kind of like Twitter does. The Twitter problem with the ETH giveaways and stuff has actually gotten a little better. But the biggest problem I see on Telegram are people impersonating other people, Yeah. For instance, my friend Crypto Crow, his name is Jason Appleton, but his Telegram name is something totally different. And I've actually been approached on Telegram by someone who used his exact name and said that it was him, but I actually already, we talk on Telegram, and so I already knew that it wasn't him. And somebody actually let him into a group that I was in, and I had to tell those people that's a scammer. So that is definitely a problem with the scam and spam that we have on a lot of these social media channels.
Yeah, it just drives you bonkers, man. Like, just stop scamming.
It's so crazy. I've done giveaways on YouTube and on Twitter, and it never fails. I always have people trying to scam me and trying to pretend that they're the winner when they're not. And luckily, I haven't fallen for any of it because I expect it at this point. But
absolutely, we were doing an airdrop for the exchange and going through registrations. You said in the registration, like, everything's IP address logged, all this stuff. So just do one account, and like we would go through this, and you'd see people with 50 registrations for the same thing. It's like, what are you doing? Like, we told you, just don't do it.
It's crazy.
Anyhow, so back to Telegram. It's a great direct feed for project leads, for devs, for CEOs to connect directly with their community. the information that they can get direct from the sources, it's fantastic. Much like Twitter, it comes straight from the community. But the anonymity and people pretending to be other people it is something that does worry others, and hopefully they can figure out a way to stop that.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's a problem, and hopefully we'll be able to battle it. So let's move on and talk about my favorite platform, because it's my main focus in my crypto journey, which is YouTube. YouTube. So I started out obviously watching YouTube videos of other people out there, and then kind of developed into doing my own channel and things like that. But I think the easiest way to sum up YouTube in terms of how it is used in the crypto community, before I say that, let me back up. You basically have two different groups of people on YouTube. You have your creators and your consumers. Your creators are, of course, the people who have YouTube channels, and a lot of people do have them. The interesting thing about most people that I've talked to on YouTube that are creators is that they don't watch a lot of content. There's just not time. Making a video takes a lot longer than you think it does. And so
absolutely.
Those guys get burned out really quick. And that's another reason that YouTube requires the most work out of every other platform by a long shot for you to be a creator on. Like with Twitter, you can just go right now and make a 140 character post, and there you're on it. But YouTube is a lot more complicated than that. And what I found from other YouTubers is there is a huge burnout factor. Like once they make their videos, they read their news, they kind of want to be done, not just with YouTube, but with with social media in general. That's why there's not a lot of crossover between YouTube and Twitter, or YouTube and Instagram. There are a few people. Crypto Bobby is one that has big accounts on both, but not a lot of people do that. But back to what I was saying earlier, to sum YouTube up, the best way I can do that is to say YouTube is where the education happens in crypto. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's all good education, but this is where people come to learn about crypto. If they want to know what the newest coin is, they're going to go to YouTube and they're going to search hottest cryptocurrency 2018. I see these searches. I do my analytics. Like, I know what people are searching for. And it's very frustrating to me as a content creator. I don't like doing, I'm not a shiller, I don't like necessarily doing like these top 10 videos or top 5 cryptos. I do them sometimes. I'll usually do them. I did not actually do one for September, but I usually do my top picks for a month or whatever it might be. And those videos get so much more views than my review videos and my news videos. And it's frustrating because, I feel like I want to educate people, but people really go to YouTube a lot to kind of either hear their own echo chamber, get their confirmation bias confirmed, or to have a Lambo dream on what they can invest in, But really, that's like when I want to research a project, that's what I go to. I'll go to YouTube and watch videos if I'm doing a coin review and kind of get a general feel of, I won't just go off of one. I'll watch 4 or 5 different videos about a project, but that is really what YouTube is for. You have your creators, and then you have your consumers there, and the consumers are going there for education. So what has your experience been with YouTube? Because you also, I believe, do a YouTube channel, or not I believe, I know you do.
Absolutely. I feel the same way you do. I think that when you spend a lot of your time making a video to put on YouTube, you go through the pre-production, you do the whole thing, the post-production, you get it all good, and then you just don't have the time, like you said, to watch other videos. And here and there you can watch some things and you try to squeeze some stuff in, but it does kind of change the way that you start to interact with watching other stuff and the way that you do things. But I think again, the same thing about you. It's a place for you to go and get an education. I once heard somebody say something, and this is unrelated to crypto, but it's almost you could probably skip college at this point, and if you want to learn anything in the world, you can become a professional just watching YouTube videos. It is such a great educational platform. Literally, from whatever to whatever, whatever you want to learn how to do, you can do it. And especially, with crypto, you can learn all about a project. You can get all the different opinions from all sorts of people and how they not shilling a project, but how they talk about it and all the different things that you can learn. It's just a fantastic resource. Education is, one of the things that's ongoing, especially in the space. I mean, things change every single day. New projects are coming out and updates are happening. So to have a place where you can go, learn, continue to learn other things and just keep it going, that continued education, like I was saying, it's a fantastic resource. And, I kind of along with it, I don't know if you've heard of, was it BitTube? It's
yes, yeah.
It's a crypto related YouTube. It's not related to YouTube, but it's you post videos and it's all you get paid in crypto.
Yeah, I've tried using it. I've got so many videos. It always tries to upload all my videos at one time over there, and just like anything else is decentralized at this point. To me, it's a little buggy,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to upload all my videos on there. So I don't like the centralization of YouTube, but I just feel like we haven't had the thing out there that's advanced enough for me to really switch platforms. Certainly not DTube or Steemit. That's I'm not a fan of those platforms. So, but the thing, just like God, what is the movie where it talks about with a lot of responsibility becomes some I don't know, some movie where it talks about with great power comes responsibility. Is that right? Is that the quote? I don't know what that's.
I mean, that sounds right. Sounds right.
Yeah,
to
it
me.
sounds right. With great power comes great responsibility. I think it's Yoda. I don't know. I just made that up. I have no idea.
Sounds like something he'd say.
It doesn't it? Sounds like a Star Wars thing. But whatever that is from, that's really true on YouTube because as a content creator, people listen to what I say. And I'm very upfront and transparent that I'm not an expert. I look at myself more of an educator, entertainer kind of deal. I'm very animated with my audience and things like that. We have live streams. We're just like I said earlier, my thing is really community. And I certainly don't mean an entertainer like a wrestling entertainer where everything I do is fake. I just mean I try to add charisma to what I do on YouTube, and that's something I feel like the space is lacking. But with that responsibility, I have to be really careful to make sure I'm not leading people astray. And other YouTubers, not all YouTubers obviously, but there are YouTubers out there that don't take that same amount of responsibility with what they say. If a project says, hey, tell people we're good and we'll give you some of our tokens, then they'll do that. I make sure everything I ever review on my channel, whether it's sponsored or just it's whatever I want to do, it's always completely unbiased. And I always try to give both sides. And unfortunately, not everybody's doing that. And that also led to a lot of problems with the bull run when people were buying into stuff that really was worthless, BitConnect and things like that. There's a lawsuit against a lot of the BitConnect YouTubers. I don't think the lawsuit will win against some YouTubers, but it is something to think about as we go in, hopefully into another bull run in the next couple of months. That's what I'm anticipating. Maybe around October, November, things will really start to kick off. That we all take responsibility for our content. That we're not leading new people astray, but yet we're also accepting and open to new people. So that's my viewpoint on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, though. Bring them good quality information and bring it to them in a manner that doesn't make them buy something just because, you're saying that it's a good project, Right. Always. And one of the things that, I do on every one of my videos, especially if I'm talking about a coin or a project, is I always tell people, do your own research. I'm not giving you financial advice. Don't do anything off of the decision or whatever because of I'm talking about it. Like, just you do your own research. Make sure that you know what you're doing.
God, I feel sorry for the people that think I am giving financial advice. I am not. I am absolutely not. So cool. Well, let's move on. I could talk about YouTube for a whole hour, and maybe at some point that is a show we can do down the road. But what do you feel like is going on with Medium? That is another. Well, let's back up real quick with YouTube as far as on the project side. The funny thing about how the projects use YouTube, just as a little side note here, is that most projects don't use YouTube as a way to deliver information. A lot of them have tried it, but they find it hard to grow their channels. From what I've noticed, the way that they are giving their message is by doing paid reviews and sponsored reviews through bigger YouTube channels. Just want to throw that in there to be consistent with the other platforms.
Absolutely, but that's a great segue into Medium, the platform Medium. I mean, you've got people that do they do paid PRs and all that stuff. Medium, in my opinion, and you're welcome to differ and discuss what you think. But to me, Medium is a great way to do a press release kind of style article, and then you push it out to all your different social media channels, all your community from there, and then have them distribute it. So to me, it's almost like a free press release service. It's great for people to just create those kind of style writings, and then send them out and have your community send it out. And, I was working with some guys on a project, and the CEO guy would, once a week or whatever, he'd write a Medium article, and that was like the letter from his desk to everybody. So that was the way for the project to come out and say, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm working on as the boss. This is exactly what's happening. So that's a great way for, the community to know, again, right from the guy who's making all the decisions, what's going on with the company. So it's a good resource for people to pretty much just, kick out free press releases, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think what Medium is really the best out of all of these, and this just reminded me about one that we actually did not put on the list that we will need to talk about, which is Reddit, because that's actually how I get to. I can't believe we forgot about Reddit. We didn't even write it down, but don't worry, I can talk about Reddit, no problem. But Reddit is actually how I get to a lot of Medium articles, because they will push those out on Reddit, and then I will get on the Medium article. And what Medium really does the best job out of all of these at is being able to give concise information that is very detailed about their project. So, like, if I want to learn about a project and I'm not watching a YouTube video about it, or if there's just something I can't grasp on a video where people are basically doing an overview of different aspects, you can go to Medium, and usually most projects will have a couple really long articles. And, another thing that's interesting is a lot of the really biggest people in crypto have Medium accounts and actually write. You can actually read some of Vitalik Buterin's writing through Medium. Same thing with like Linda Z, she's an advisor with ZRX. She used to work for Coinbase. She is another really big person in the crypto space. You can read a lot of her writing. She does a lot of breakdowns on what is the difference between Bitcoin and other projects, which is really cool and really useful. And so really Medium is a great way to deliver that information. To talk about, if you really want to get into the tech side of stuff, a lot of the Medium articles can really deliver that tech information so that I don't really know how to describe it. I guess like it's sitting there and you can read it. It's not going anywhere. It's not time sensitive like on Telegram where you got to scroll up and down, whatever. You find the Medium article, you can sit down with your cup of HODL Fuel and you can read it. And even if you're not a tech person, you can start to kind of understand what these projects are talking about. Like for instance, if you were to read an article about Bitcoin, you've got the article in front of you, you're reading, it comes to the part where it talks about immutable ledger. And you're like, what the heck is an immutable ledger if you're new to crypto? You can take a time out, open another tab, Google immutable ledger, and you can basically go through that whole Medium article and understand it by doing research on the side as you're reading it, if that makes sense. That's what I've done a lot with some of these projects that have some kind of more complicated aspects to them. So,
well, that's a good way to put it. It's a good way to. It's almost like getting an updated version or a couple new pages to the white paper.
Yes.
So
it's like a living, breathing version of updates.
Nice. I think it's an open source thing, right? Not that matters.
I'm not really sure. Well, I mean, anybody can get on there and write about anything. So, I mean, I actually have an article. I wrote an article for high performance blockchain. So I was trying to get some free tokens by writing that article. But it's a good article. You should go look it up. Just search BitBoy Medium. Writing for Medium is something I would like to do in the future. But oh my gosh, I just don't have any time. So, well, I guess before we move on to Facebook. Since we already brought it up, let's talk about Reddit for a minute. Obviously, this one we didn't put on our list to talk about, but I knew we would forget one. But Reddit is really the grandfather of all crypto, other than maybe Bitcoin talk, which we won't get into because it's so niche. But Reddit is really like the godfather or the grandfather of crypto social media. It's been around forever, almost. I know certainly back in 2012, when I first got into it, there were Reddit threads about Bitcoin. So have you used Reddit for any crypto research?
Not for research per se, but for information, learning some new things. I mean, I think I set when I set my account up and then set all the things that I like, so that when I log in, it shows me everything. I mean, everything's crypto related, right? Crypto and motorcycles, and crypto. It's like the two things that rule my world. That and my wife, and Hodl Fuel in the morning.
And Hodl Fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Reddit is where I get all of my news stories from, basically. So it's a good way to pull together articles from all over the internet into one kind of readable page. Like I get all mine from pretty much the cryptocurrency subreddit. So Reddit is really good for getting information. There's also a comment section on every article. So like for instance, I talked about recently a story regarding a decision that was made by a judge about ICOs and whether or not they're securities. And the article was basically saying, if you read the headline, it said that a judge declared that all ICOs are securities. That's the way that it read. But then you actually read in depth in the article and realized that's not what it's saying. It was basically saying that the SEC had the right to determine whether or not an individual ICO is a security or not. And the comment section just ripped the article to shreds. And so you really get it from two perspectives. You get the article itself, and then you can go in the comment section. It gives you a much more balanced view of what's really going on with an article and the information it has in it. I really appreciate that.
I think that there are some straight up savages on Reddit.
Oh, yeah, we definitely got to talk about that.
I mean, like you said, you could get roasted. If you say the wrong thing, man, you're done. Like, you're negative. Your karma just goes.
Somebody told me I had an ugly face on one of my thumbnails on Reddit. The guy said, your face is so ugly, stop putting it on your thumbnails. I was like, oh my gosh. Appreciate that, dude. And see,
thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Usually, you guys could see my face as I'm telling the story, know how beautiful it actually is. But unfortunately, we're on a podcast. You'll just have to look up my face, and you'll definitely understand that was an asinine, trolly comment. Because you have a nice beard, a nice beard,
great beard.
Yeah, but what I've gotten to the point with Reddit is where I basically just will unclick the send replies to my inbox. So I'll post stuff on Reddit. I'll never even see the responses because I do know that that there are just people out there that their whole mission in life is to say negative stuff. And I know like if on any of my YouTube videos I ever get dislikes on them, it's from one of two sources every single time. Either other YouTubers that don't want my content to do well, and that's all across YouTube. That's the case. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to see people succeed. Or it's because I posted it on Reddit and people come over from Reddit. So the funny thing is they'll come over and they'll dislike my video, but they will hardly ever actually drop a negative comment on the video itself, but they will post so many negative comments on Reddit itself. So we know there's a lot of trolls there. You can't feed the trolls, but it is really good in my mind for information.
Yeah. Man, it is a good place for information. That is very true. It's same thing. You could search anything on Reddit and find it, and there is definitely some great conversations. And like you said, you get some good comments where you can learn some really good things. And if someone's asking a question, and you get someone who's like an expert that goes into like in depth, and it's really good to learn something from somebody else. But then again, if you say the wrong thing, roastville.
Well, they're experts, but then at the end of their post, they'll be like, I don't actually know anything about this. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So,
oh man,
you don't ever really know on Reddit if people are being serious or not, and it's a beautiful thing, but it's also kind of crazy. So, well, let's move on to what if we had this conversation probably 2 years ago, we would have said was the behemoth that ruled them all. But now things are drastically changing, which is Facebook. We've already talked a little bit about the downfall of Facebook and how it is on the decline. The interesting thing about Facebook is not just necessarily what it is doing in the crypto space and the way people are using it, but I actually believe Facebook down the road will have a huge impact on crypto because I am a heavy believer that they will, in fact, buy Coinbase at some point. They've already had talks about it, as reported by The Economist magazine. And we do know that Facebook already reached out to Stellar for some kind of casual conversations. Also, Mark Zuckerberg's sister, Randy Zuckerberg, just signed on with Huobi, I believe, as an advisor or either on their board. So there is a lot of crossover there. But as far as actually the way that it's being used in the crypto space, it's not really. There is one niche. There's one niche on Facebook that uses that is catered to the crypto community, which is groups. There are crypto and Bitcoin groups that have popped up on Facebook or that have been around for a while. I know my friend Crypto Model runs one that I was actually in before I cut my Facebook out about a month ago. I believe in putting your money where your mouth is, and I want to fight decentralization. And to me, Facebook is as to fight centralization. And I believe Facebook is as centralized as it gets. It's everything that we're fighting against in cryptocurrency, along with Google, and YouTube is right there too. But I can't really give that one up right now. But I did close my Facebook account. But Crypto Model has a good group on there. It's got about 700 or 800 people in it, I think, maybe more. But then I actually talked to someone at the Voices of Blockchain conference, Meredith Darden, and she said that she actually runs a Facebook group that's got, I think, 140 or 150,000 people in it. So,
holy moly.
Yeah, it's big. So there are some places. Now, as far as projects using Facebook, it's funny. They almost all have Facebooks, but they hardly ever use them. But what I've actually found really good with projects on Facebook is they will communicate with you on Messenger. If you really want to be able to talk to a project and ask them some questions, not like, hey, what are you guys doing with this technology? But like if you want to get in touch with their PR department, if you want to get in touch with, something for a media request, Facebook Messenger is actually the best way to do it from what I've found. And if they don't respond to you there, a lot of times on Facebook, they will, on their About page, list their email address. It's hard to find email addresses for projects a lot of times because they just have forms that you fill out. You fill out a contact form on the website, but you can't actually get the email address. So those are the ways that the projects are using it and how you can kind of take advantage of some stuff that they're doing on there.
Yeah. Now, with Facebook, weren't they banning, or at least, because I knew that I was part of some groups where they would try to do posts or ads or whatever, and they were banned and they weren't even allowed. Like if they put the post up, it would get taken down with like a couple minutes later, right?
Right. So it's really Facebook advertising. So if you want to do a post and you want to do advertising on it to share it with more people, then
like where you pay.
What's that?
Where you pay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's funny because I actually, for my cartoon series that I'm putting together, BitBoy and Hodl, which is kind of how I got started into this account and everything, I had a Facebook page, and it may still be up. I don't know if it is or not. But I had a Facebook page, and I've started a ton of Facebook pages in my life, and I grow them the same way every time. It's so hard to go from 0 to 100 or 0 to 1,000 followers on Facebook. So all you do is use Facebook ads, and you'll get, depending on how, like for $5, you can get probably about 10 people a day. It's very cheap to add new followers through the advertising. And so I started the page, and I did one ad, and I could not get it approved for anything. It's crazy. It was a cryptocurrency cartoon, not selling anything, and it was banned by Facebook. So that was kind of the beginning of the end for Facebook with me personally. So it's just crazy. But they actually have reversed that, and they are allowing some of the larger crypto companies to use it. Coinbase actually got approved recently to use Facebook ads. More reason why I feel like Coinbase and Facebook are in bed with each other. But, there was a news story where they had approved it, and I know the next day I saw a Facebook ad on my wife's page, actually, for Coinbase, and also on her Instagram. So that's kind of a little bit of the history with, and the current status of the Facebook ads program in cryptocurrency.
Oh, man, just imagine some of the knowledge you would learn just being able to fly in the wall there.
Oh, man. I want to know what they're up to. They're up to something. Let me tell you what.
They got to be.
Facebook's on the decline. This is not the last we have heard of Facebook. Facebook is not going to go away. I believe they're going to totally adapt. They're going to do something totally different. They do still have Instagram, which is growing super, super, super quick. It's basically it's kind of like Binance is growing, but the only reason Binance is growing is because everybody's going from other exchanges, over to Binance. And that's like with Instagram. Everybody's closing their Facebook accounts and moving to Instagram. So it's a lot of crossover there, but I don't know what they're up to, but they're up to something big. And I think Facebook is probably going to be the most instrumental company in adoption of crypto, and yet I hate it at the same time. So it's such a love-hate relationship with Facebook. But I think you talk about the Gemini exchange and the Twinklevi, as some people call them, the Winklevoss twins. There is actually, there's reason to believe that Zuckerberg's got even more of a reason to kind of delve into crypto world because he's got this huge competition with those guys, obviously, too. So very multifaceted behind the scenes stuff going on with Facebook and crypto.
Absolutely, yeah. They're doing some things, looking to see what they've got coming out in the next couple of years. Because, like you said, they're not going to pull a MySpace. They're not going away quietly. That's for sure. No. All right. So next, I think that we wanted to maybe talk a little bit about Discord. Now, for me, Discord was one of those things that when I first got introduced to it, I had absolutely no idea what I was even doing. And I would still say, after kind of learning about it, I still have no idea what I'm doing. But I mean, I know how to do the basic functions and communicate with people, but it's just the server thing, all that, and like switching, and all of a sudden I'm in one room, then I'm in the next, or the channel or the server, whatever it is. It makes sense. I think maybe it makes more sense for gamers. Like in the crypto world, I'm not going to video chat. Whereas if I'm like on Call of Duty or whatever, video chat maybe work out a little bit better. So there's like some functions of Discord that I think that it's just too much for me.
The audio chat rooms are crazy to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm 35. Maybe if I was a little younger, I'd be into it. But I don't want to go to I want to talk to people less and less and less if possible.
Absolutely. And I said video chat, but I did mean the audio chat.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. There's no time for that. Same thing. I'm in my mid 30s. That game's over.
Ain't nobody got time for that. And I think
ain't nobody got time.
Ain't nobody. The thing about Discord is, to me, it's information overload. I can't handle it. Like, out of all of these, I will pretty much use every single one that we've talked about, except, obviously, we'll talk about GitHub in a second, which is something that projects is absolutely integral to cryptocurrency, but I'm not a developer, so I don't really have a lot of use for. But Discord is the one where I could use it. I'm in a few Discord chats, but it's too much information for me. It's information overload. I'm OCD. I don't want to have notifications. My sole purpose in life is to get rid of the notifications on my phone. And with Discord, it's like impossible to do. So, Discord, like you kind of, one thing we really want to talk about a lot on this podcast is we want you to open your mind and to try different platforms. Like if you're on Twitter, try Instagram. Go check it out. See if you can create an account there, get a feel for it, see what it's like. But yet, I understand everybody's time is so valuable, and there are certain places where you got to draw the line. And for me, Discord is the line. That's where I'm not going to venture into that territory. And what I found from a lot of people is you pick your poison. You either go with Telegram or you go with Discord. It's really hard to be involved in both of them at the same time, unless literally all you do is social media all day. So that's kind of my thing with Discord. But some people really like it. They like okay, let me tell you what I think Discord would be really good for. Discord would be really good if you are a crypto project and you wanted all of your key staff to be able to have one place where they can post like what they each have going on, and you can track each of the different areas' progress. Like that would be kind of cool. I feel like for just your normal crypto consumer, that's a phrase I've made up. I just mean people who are interested in it but aren't working on projects that, you don't necessarily need that kind of streamlined information into different areas where you can follow progress on a project. Like that to me, it just doesn't make sense. A lot of people use it for fun. That they have their own little Discord groups and the different channels are, one's for announcements, one's for maybe chart analysis, one's for just general chat. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of a forum, but like a more open forum, I guess.
Interactive.
Yeah. And forums are kind of, to me, I've never really used forums other than like they come up in Google search results. So I'll go find what I'm looking for. But Discord is like, I would say it's the more modern version of a forum.
That's a good way to put it. I know that I don't know if you're familiar with. There was another podcaster group. They do Around the Corn, Yuki and the Goddess.
Oh yeah.
I know that they've got a. I'm in the Discord channel there with them, and they're pretty active. They do all sorts of things. There's like music that goes on. They talk and all sorts of There's all different servers that you can go on. It's a cool spot, but again, it's the information overload. It's too much for me. If I've got to pick and choose my battles and
Is
where
that the bag holders in one? Is it just specifically Around the Corn?
I think it's the Yuki and the Goddess one. I'm actually not sure the name of it.
I can't even. I can't figure out how those people have time. Like, to me, with Discord, I don't understand how you can be very active on Twitter and on Discord. I don't know how it works. That's one thing. So there's one that some of the crypto personalities on Twitter are in. Bella, Crypto Fungus, a lot of the Around the Corn guys, a lot of those guys are in it. And I went in it and I joined it and I just got so overwhelmed. There was so much going on there. And all I kept thinking is, wait, I just read a post of yours on Twitter. How do you have time to be at two places at once? So I don't know. It's a lot.
It's a balance. So like you said, too much for me.
But of course, I'm making YouTube videos all the time too. So if I wasn't doing that, then who knows? Maybe I'd have more time for it. But some of these people have jobs too. So
yeah, but you got to get that pretty face out there and that beard, man. Remember.
Oh, that's it. Pretty face and
that's
beard.
It. There you go.
I'm more than that though. I'm more than just a pretty face with a beard. I have depth. So much depth.
I appreciate that.
Well, cool. Well, let's move on and talk about the last one, which we're not going to really hit on too hard simply because neither JChains or myself are developers. But one huge social media tool is GitHub. Now, what is GitHub? It's basically a place where open source programs can be worked on. So, and you can also find a lot of projects will put their white papers on GitHub as well. And I don't know, I think Tron copied their white paper from GitHub. That's a different story.
I have heard that.
Yeah. Somebody put together some kind of crazy theory about where they stole each line from and all kinds of different stuff. But GitHub is basically where developers can kind of merge, and then you can actually fork a project on GitHub too. So instead of continuing to work on a project, you can actually take that project, start a new, I guess they call it a new channel, a new page for it. I'm not exactly what the lingo is. And then you can fork off of it and you can actually turn it into something totally different than it was supposed to be. But the interesting thing for me, and I would love if maybe we at some point could have someone who is an active user of GitHub maybe come on the show and talk about it, which
That's
is
smart.
like, if people are able to just go on there and work on your project, then how do you know they're not going to mess it up? I guess you have earlier versions saved, but it's a way for developers to come together and congregate. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of protections they have in place to keep people from kind of running on their own and to make sure everybody's working together. But I guess if it's an open source project, then I guess anybody can do anything what they want, anything they want with it.
Hey, GitHubbers, get at us. Let us give some information.
Get at us. I love it. So, but
it would be good to learn a little bit more about that. That's for sure.
Because you will find almost every project has a GitHub page. They have a place where they're putting out different projects, different information through their GitHub and things like that. So I thought it was really important at least to touch on it a little bit and explain what it is if you haven't heard of it, or if you have heard of it and you didn't know what it was. But it's definitely a big piece of the cryptocurrency landscape. But unfortunately, it's just like with Discord, I choose not to use it. With GitHub, like, honestly, I wouldn't even really know where to get started with it. So, So cool. Well, I guess that wraps it up, JChains. I think that pretty much is every social media platform we want to talk about. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Telegram and YouTube. You're not going to find me on GitHub, Discord, Facebook, or Medium. Instagram. One of the things that you said is, kind of go out of your comfort zone, right? So my takeaway from this show, BitBoy, is that I am going to get myself an Instagram account. Because I told you earlier, I have a perception about Instagram, right? So I know of Instagram models. So to me, it's like, why in the world would crypto be involved in Instagram? But I am going to take your advice. I'm going to open up an account. I'll share it maybe next week, or you can find me on Insta. But I'm going to be
Awesome.
Insta. Yeah.
Well, I'm across the board, Instagram, Twitter, and Telegram, all BitBoy_HODL. So it's easy to find me on all of those. But let me give you a little tip, J Chains, on what you need to do. Go to my Instagram page and follow it. Follow me first. That's all you need to do, and you're good after that. So
I will do that. I will do that.
In all seriousness, if you make an account, if you're, and this goes to everybody in the audience, if you're interested in creating a crypto Instagram account and you don't have one, it's very easy. Go start it and then go to my page at BitBoy_HODL. You can look at all of the people I follow. I only follow like 70 or 80 people on Instagram. It's a very small number, and they're all crypto, and they're all the best crypto accounts out there, pretty much. So you can go in there and do that, and that is a good way to get started on Instagram. And of course, if you want to expand that, then you can. But all the people that I follow are pretty much legit. So that's a good way to get started there. So like I said, you guys can find me. I told you where you can find me already. You can also find me on YouTube at BitBoy Crypto. That is a little bit different than my other username. But you can also find our Twitter handle for the podcast, Beards Bitcoins. That is at Beards Bitcoins on Twitter. Look out for our contest post. Another big shout out to HODL Fuel for sponsoring the podcast, giving out some coffee. Really excited about it. And that's all we got. So until next time, we will see you guys later.
See ya.